Okay, hi Bruce. Would you tell us how you heard about us?
Well, it was kind of odd. I have a guy that delivers a laundry service for my business, and after he left my business, he went to another one and ran into a guy named Joe who hadn't been able to work in 2 months or more, and he asked where he'd been, and Joe said, you know, I have a herniated disc, and I was unable to work, and I was in a lot of pain, and my wife convinced me to go to the Baldwin Clinic. He said after 2 weeks I was able to come to work. And so my laundry guy, being the nice guy that he is, he immediately called me and gave me the name and number and clinic name and address of the clinic, and I made an appointment to come in for an interview.
That's great, Bruce. Now, so tell us, what were your symptoms before you came to Avenue to Wellness?
For the previous 3 months, whenever I stood for 5 or 10 or possibly 15 minutes at the max, I would get so much pain in my right leg that I would have to go sit down. And after I'd sit down maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I'd be better, but I make my living on my feet, and consequently for 3 months I was not able to make a living.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
No. So where else were you treated before coming here?
I went to a standard chiropractor for about probably better than a month. I went to massage therapy. Neither one had effect. I went in and got an MRI, and I found out what it was. And so then I went to another firm and had 2 epidurals, each one 2 weeks apart, and they had no effect. They were supposed to deaden the nerve and didn't. And when I went in for the third, he told me basically I was wasting my time and money, and I agreed, and so I gave up. And then I made an appointment for an orthopedic surgeon, which actually was 2 days ago, but I canceled that when my wife and I decided to sign up with the Baldwin Clinic.
Excellent. So what changes then have you noticed in your symptoms since you've started your treatment here at Avenue to Wellness?
A lot, but there's one other thing I'd like to throw in. On the day of my orientation, when Dr. Jason brought me over here to see your spinal decompressors, there was a man getting ready to go on there, and he asked me if he could talk to me, and I said sure. And he told me that when he came here, he was so hyped up on narcotics he couldn't work or drive, and after the first week he was able to get off those. And he'd been in now 3 weeks, and he told me about 50% of his pain is gone. And I thought, okay, I've had 2 recommendations from 2 men who have nothing to gain other than to try to help somebody, and that to me is a lot better than an ad. Okay, the changes. I just finished my 2nd week here today. I started on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The following Tuesday I came in. That was 4 treatments. And I noticed Wednesday morning I was getting stuff ready for my part-time employee that's been really, really nice enough to help me out. And then I got sidetracked, and the next thing you know, I realized I'd been on my feet a half an hour. And the next thing you know, I'd been on my feet 40 minutes. And that's the longest I've been able to stand on my feet in 3 months. And I went ahead and I took a break because I felt a little discomfort but not pain. Then I went back, and I was actually able, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, to do work. Maybe only 30 to 50% of what I used to do, but it's a lot better than 0. Since then, I've been able to stand now over an hour without any real discomfort, so I'm able to get even more work done. And like I said, I've only been in here 2 weeks, so both my wife and I have been very impressed. The Wednesday that I stood up for 40 minutes, several times, we met for dinner, and when I told her, she actually got a tear in her eye.
Oh.
And yeah, and also too, one of the other ladies at the table, it was a birthday dinner, she told me, you know, this is the best you've looked in months. You've got color in your face. And I go, well, yeah, but then I've been on oxygen for the last half hour. So. But yeah, it's made a big difference in my life, and I've just now got started. I still have a long ways to go, and I see absolutely nothing but improvement on the horizon. So.
That's absolutely excellent. So what is the most important thing that you would like to say to someone who is suffering the same way that you have been?
I cannot emphasize strongly enough, come down to the Baldwin Clinic, get an evaluation, talk to Dr. Baldwin. When my wife and I talked to him, he spent probably better than an hour with me. The last time a doctor spent an hour with me, he was stitching up my right hand. My wife and I were both very impressed with Dr. Baldwin, very impressed with the staff here, but I gave him my MRIs and also my x-rays that I had, and he went over them thoroughly before he met with my wife and I, and he showed me all the damage I had to my spine and what his plan was. And my wife and I talked it over a very brief amount of time and decided, okay, let's cancel the orthopedic surgeon and give this a shot. And I am not sorry. And I think anybody who's having any kind of spinal problems at all should come down here and talk to these people, because I am the third person I know of that I've helped, it's helped. And I've talked to a couple other patients here, and they have basically said the same story. And it works. It really does.
Should these people that you're talking to, that you're trying to get this message across, should they wait any amount of time?
I don't see what the benefit would be other than more pain, you know. That was one thing with my wife and I. We thought, you know, maybe we should, because I'm one of those guys that I usually like to take a few days and think it over and all that. But my wife and I thought, no, let's get this started, because so far nothing else has worked. And I sure didn't really want to go under the knife. I admit it, I'm apprehensive about it, and so is my wife. And I've heard some real war stories, including my wife's ex-husband. He's had 3 or 4 surgeries, and he's having to go in for another one. And he still has severe debilitating back pain, and he's self-employed too. And so I'm like, I've heard too many war stories over the years from people that come into my business and, you know, they're hobbling around, and I ask what's the matter, and oh, I've got this in my back, and I went in for surgery and it didn't help. And so I don't see any reason to put it off. You know, I mean, you can always say no and walk out the door. And I think after you talk to Dr. Baldwin and some of his staff, you probably won't want to say no, because, you know, there's a lot of testimonials, and there's a lot of people right here in the clinic at any given time that are coming in here for a treatment that would be more than willing to tell you, no, it's working, you know. That guy that talked to my laundry guy, I've run into him 3 or 4 times since I've been coming here, and each time I talk to him, you know, he goes, man, you're looking better, and I go, well, so are you, and he goes, I'm feeling better. It's like a miracle. And I don't like to use that word miracle, but no, it is working, you know. And like I said, Joe's back to work, and he's looking good, and I'm back to work more or less, and like I said, I've only been at it 2 weeks.
Excellent. Bruce, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, Heidi.
Bye.